Hi guys, welcome back for part 2 on this introduction to sea kayaking. In part 1 we discussed the suitable and appropriate kit that we should wear for the conditions, water temperature, etc., seasons, summer, winter. Now we're going to discuss what we should carry primarily in our boat and why, and possibly a little bit about where we should carry that. Okay, so I'm going for a paddle tomorrow, so I've got my standard kit bag down here. So what we're going to do is just talk through it, okay? It's not uncommon for people to use a bag like this IKEA bag. Great idea to carry your stuff from your vehicle to your boat, especially if you're doing an overnight job and you don't want to carry your boat all the way up to the campsite. You can just take the key bits out of your boat and use this bag. Screws up in the hatch and doesn't take up a lot of space. So, what am I going to be carrying? Well, there's a thermos flask, hot drink. Really important this time of the year. People that know me know I'm a big avid fan of the Jetboil, and particularly in the winter I quite often take a pot noodles type meal, hot noodles or even sometimes porridge or something, just to get some warm food inside me midway through the day. If you're going down the leadership route, you may want to consider that it's not always a good idea to drink all your coffee at lunchtime, just in case you get a chilly bones person takes a swim towards the end of the day. You might want to keep a small flask whereby you can still have a hot drink if you need to warm someone up. Okay, so thermos flask. I might want to take a hot food flask instead of taking a Jetboil. Just another means of carrying some hot food for the winter. Okay. Also, part 1 we spoke about buoyancy aids with bladders. It might be that you have got one like this that doesn't have a drinking bladder, so you'd want to carry a water bottle. Particularly in the summer, it's really important that you keep hydrated. Things like sunstroke, etc. So quite accessible bottle with some water in it. Okay. So now we're going to go delve deeper into my bag. Okay. Fundamentally, if I carry something in my boat, I need to make sure that I've waterproofed it, okay? And it's pretty standard. People use dry bags, okay? Lots of different manufacturers and makes. One thing to bear in mind is, they don't last forever, and it's a really good idea to, every 6 months or so, just check the contents, If you haven't had to use anything out of your first aid kit, when you do need to use it, you want to ensure that the contents is still dry and usable and not all wet. Okay, so it's a good idea quite regularly to get in the habit of just checking. Alright, now you'll notice here, just because our local supplier, Reed Chill Cheetah, they market and sell these, they're all blue, and what I've done here is I've labelled them up. Okay, it's quite a good idea to get into a systematic way of not only storing the same stuff in the same places in your boat, but also just labelling your dry bags so you know which bag is what. So if I needed to grab a plaster or something, I don't want to be ferreting through this one and this one and this one before I find it, or it might be something even more important. I want to be able to put my hand straight on it. Okay. So, for those of you that may have come from a sit-on background, when you start paddling a closed cockpit sea kayak, generally they have at least 3 hatches, sometimes 4. And the main hatch that is behind the cockpit, usually to your right, is called the day hatch. Okay, very accessible to be able to swing round and access. So the sort of things that I would keep there would be these 3, okay? My boat repair kit, my first aid kit and my grab bag, my stuff that I would like to grab and go to quite quickly and easily accessible. Okay. Now, out of interest, you'll notice that all these bags are attached. Okay. As I place them, when I load my boat up, as I place them, I actually lace them through this string. I've painted this as my daisy chain. Okay. If you were unfortunate enough to lose a hatch, a wave took it out or something, and your boat got swamped with water, it's not unheard of. I've had 2 friends in the last 3 years lose contents of their hatch. They've either lost a very valuable repair kit, not so much monetary value, but just all those handy little things that you build up over years, you know, that floated off. Or in another case, you might lose parts of your trolley, a wheel or a linchpin or something that's quite vital. And if nothing else, it's just a nuisance to try and locate another one. So this bag here, my grab bag, the type of things I would keep in here are stuff that I want to grab in a hurry. So starting off, I've got my mobile phone. Okay, I'm a belt and braces kind of guy. I still keep that in a waterproof bag, even though it's in a dry bag. Okay, so if I wanted to make a phone call lunchtime, if I had a signal, or you know, just check an app for progress, I would use that. When you get to a certain time of life, you start having to wear glasses. I keep a cheapy 3 pair of plastic glasses. Doesn't matter if you sit on them or you lose them. But it just means that if I wanted to glance at a map lunchtime or read my phone or whatever, so that's also quite handy. Now, if we're stopping for lunch, we've been paddling, we might have got a bit wet, if the sea's been a bit rough, it might be a bit windy. We're going to try and find somewhere sheltered, but the moment we stop paddling, that's when we might get a bit chilly. Okay, so things like having a beanie. Again, these Reed Chill Cheetah micro fleece ones are exceptionally warm. Okay, and I might just whip that on over my helmet, or just take my helmet off and put that on. But you can lose a lot of heat through your head, so it's a really good idea once you stop to go prepared. And it might not be me, it might be a member of the group, someone that's come along for the day that probably necessarily hasn't got quite the right kit on. Okay. Also in there, I do have quite a versatile little gizmo, in the fact that it is a torch, or should I need it to be, it's a strobe light. Okay, so that's a little bit more on the rescue side of things. Carabiner to clip it to my BA. That strobe's the standard SOS, waterproof. In the summer, it's not unheard of for people to forget to put suntan lotion on, so I always carry a spare bottle, and I just let people, obviously, with safeguarding, etc., you let them apply it themselves. This is a really clever and useful, versatile bit of kit. It's called a coverall, and it literally does what it says on the tin. So if I stop, it's a bit chilly, I'm having a spot of lunch, I have the ability to throw this over the top of everything I'm wearing or a member of my group. Okay, it's got a foil liner to reflect any heat that my body is generating, a hood, pockets to access anything, because I put it on over everything, I literally could still access stuff in the pockets of my BA. And because you might consider using this if you had someone feeling a bit poorly, possibly a shoulder injury. Let's say we've rafted the casualty up, where someone's alongside giving them physical and mental support. They're obviously feeling a bit poorly or something. They might be getting a bit chilly. They're being assisted tow back to base. this has the facility not only to go over the top of everything, but including your spray deck. Okay, so there's got adjustment there. Great bit of kit. Okay, so as a leader on a trip, I actually carry two of these. One of these which is right in my day hatch for very quick access, and one that I would carry at the back of my boat in another hatch, just because obviously, you know, I may be responsible for other people. Now, these are great bits of kit from Chilled Cheetah, but you know, when you're first starting out, there's lots of bits of kit to buy. The other option would be go on eBay and get the largest Peter Storm Kaggle that you can get, and that means it will then go over everything. Probably only under 20 pounds or something, and that will do the same thing. What we're talking about now is blocking the wind out, retaining a bit of heat that your body has generated. Okay. Now, a couple of other things that I would carry in this grab bag would be some instant repair patches. The boat I currently paddle most of the time doesn't have a sweetie hatch. A sweetie hatch is a very small hatch right at the front of your cockpit where you can grab instantly. So you might keep a chocolate bar in there, you might keep some repair patches, you might possibly keep some seasickness tablets or anything else that you want to grab very, very quickly. Okay, but these patches, if you go up through the leadership system and you go on training courses, you'll learn that if you leave them in your hatch for a year or two, when you come to use them, you'll find they're probably dry and they won't work as effectively. So you need to pay attention to a little bit of maintenance and the shelf life of these things, but you want to be able to carry them somewhere where you can grab them quickly. So it might mean that you're going to carry them in a BA pocket, or you might carry them very accessible in a day hatch or a sweetie hatch. Okay. The other thing I carry is some Quell seasickness tablets, just in case someone starts feeling a bit green. It's a good idea because, you know, if you're out for the day and one person's feeling a bit green, as much as we've got a duty of care to look after them, it can ruin everyone's day if we've got to stop for 40 minutes till they kick in and the person starts feeling a little better. Okay, so stuff predominantly to keep me dry and warm when I stop, and or stuff that I want to be able to grab quite quickly. You know, you could be literally apply a bit of that to someone when you're paddling along. So that's my grab bag of quick stuff. Again, in here is a very comprehensive first aid kit, and this is a repair kit. In episode 3, we're going to look into great detail in what to carry for repairing boats. But that is a comprehensive kit that I can apply temporary patches to plastic boats, fiberglass boats, and a few little bits and pieces that you could carry just to fix, you know, anything else that might potentially break. And that might be a tear in a cag or a boat safety line, whatever. Okay, so that is all close to hand